Indonesia Tzu Chi volunteers and the Chinese industrialists join hands together to distribute rice to impoverished families. Tzu Chi volunteers in Las Vegas provide COVID vaccinations to the locals, many of whom bring back bands to donate.
歡迎收睇DaAi Headlines， 我係 Ruby 我哋一齊睇下今日嘅內容。Indonesia Tzu Chi volunteers and the Chinese industrialists work together to distribute 1 million bags of rice, weighing 10 kilograms each, to help impoverished families impacted by the pandemic. With the assistance of the military and police, the rice was delivered in time. Volunteers also felt the joy of helping others.
For 100 bags of rice, weighing 10 kilograms each, were delivered to the second grade love village. Volunteers presented the rice to the residents, who smiled with peace of mind.
Semoga benar-benar dapat bermanfaat ya.
It really makes me happy to see them so delighted and at ease.
Bahagia melihat mereka semuanya dalam kondisi yang sangat harmonis dan bahagia juga.
Because of the pandemic, Dini was unemployed. Yet, upon receiving the rice, she was so happy that her financial burden can be reduced.
Itu banget ya, selama pandemi ini sih.
We really felt being helped. During the pandemic, we have been received Tzu Chi's assistance.
Indonesia Tzu Chi volunteers invited a Chinese industrialist to convert the Spring Festival meal expenses to 1 million bags of 10 kilograms of rice. Not only the Chinese were happy, but also 1 million impoverished families were grateful for the help.
I hope that the distribution of rice can satisfy their daily needs. They just have to buy side dishes. The most important thing is that they can have rice to eat.
Matriman town in East Jakarta lives mostly impoverished families. These packages of rice just came in time.
About 90% of the families are affected because their jobs are unstable, and most of them have retired already.
Nati lives in Tainan village. The daily income of her and her husband is only enough to buy food for one day. Now they can finally save money to buy daily necessities.
Bersyukurlah itu rezeki kan.
With the distributed rice, I don't have to buy rice for the coming 10 days. This allows me to save about $8.
To be able to help those in need, the joy of this volunteer is doubled.
Di bidang ini kegiatan untuk bidang sosial.
During the process of doing good deeds, seeing the people being helped were so happy or even moved to tears, I also felt happy. To be honest, it's distressing to see their situation.
In Sierra Leone, a fire broke out at a slum in its capital, Freetown. Over 7,000 people became homeless. Tzu Chi, along with the Caritas Freetown Foundation, joined together to carry out relief work, providing the most needed care to the fire-affected residents.
As the number of affected residents is too overwhelming, the government has worked together with 49 NGOs to carry out relief works. Caritas Freetown Foundation, the long-term partner with Tzu Chi Foundation, has also joined in. The first phase is to provide hot food. 7 food stations have been set up, providing 3 meals to over 3,000 people daily. The blue bowls in the hands of the locals are specially bought and distributed by volunteers. 6 Tzu Chi scholarship recipients have also joined in on the ranks of volunteers. Besides carrying bags of rice, they also assisted in cooking and distributing hot food. After the fire, over 1,100 families are left homeless on the streets. They are in need of blankets, and volunteers immediately sent 50 blankets over. At the same time, they are also packing second-handed clothes, hoping to provide warmth for the affected residents in the shortest time possible.
Tzu Chi volunteers also helped the fire-affected residents in Tainan's Yanshui community. The resident has disabilities and is not able to clean up the aftermath on his own. Tzu Chi volunteers pitched in to clean the area twice, easing his mind.
This was all built by ourselves.
Mr. Chen is saying this house used to be grandfather's. It's all made of cypress, so he can't bear to dismantle it.
During a period of mourning, this old house left by his grandfather was burnt. Mr. Chen, who is certified as a physically and mentally disabled person, asked Tzu Chi volunteers to help once again.
We came to help him sort out things on the 18th, but he really couldn't handle such a big area by himself, so he asked us if we could come to help again.
Because of the fire in this courtyard, we are helping clean it and move things out to the garbage truck.
Volunteers disassemble the dangerously burnt furniture and move them to the garbage truck one by one.
It's very pitiful, so I came to help out. When I give, I feel very happy.
After the fire, the messy courtyard was finally cleaned up by volunteers, and the uneasy emotions of the fire survivors could finally begin to ease.
A solitary senior needed Tzu Chi's help as well in Shimen District, New Taipei City. His sickness has gotten worse since Lunar New Year and hence is unable to clean his house. 9 volunteers from Yanshui District went there to help him clean up his room and bathroom.
An elderly needed help cleaning up his home as sickness continues to plague his body after the Lunar New Year. Despite having a home caretaker and his relatives to send food, cleaning was a huge task to undertake.
Today, my brother-in-law doesn't have a wife and lives on his own. My husband passed a long time ago, so it's just me now. And today, many people came to help me.
Through a friend's suggestion, Mrs. Xu asked Tzu Chi for help, and 9 volunteers from Yanshui came to clean up, bringing their own tools to do so.
My thinking that this person is an elderly, and if he was my father or a place that I was to rent, I'm using that mentality to conduct business today. I see all the volunteers working hard, and no one complained of being tired. Most of them are much older than me, so I have much to look up to, and I'm thankful I have this opportunity.
During the volunteer training, I kept asking myself, what is my incentive for doing this? And the first thing I thought of was to repay the grace of my parents. And since I was not able to do so in time with my parents, I brought the same reciprocating heart to this event, so I'm very thankful for this opportunity.
The elderly has been temporarily placed in a safe place, and the volunteers only took 2 hours to clean up his home, so he may return to a clean and comfortable place.
Team members from the Lofton District have been going to Gongliao to provide free clinics and house calls for the seniors. This time, they've recruited young volunteers to join them. Many students joined the medical volunteers on this mission and have learned much from this experience.
While it is drizzling outside, a group of people have come to meet their old friends.
I've taken this path for about 20 years. We're like old friends and family. When I come, I want to meet them, as we're like old friends.
Northern District Team chapter goes to Gongliao to provide free clinics and house calls regularly. This time, young people have joined them.
We help them check to see if they've used the medication repeatedly. It's very important. When we attended an introductory class for medical volunteers, they talk about this.
We have discovered that young people are full of love. They are also willing to volunteer, but they lack the opportunity. So we opened up an online registration platform so they can join our free clinic. Of course, we first provide them with training.
还好吗？会听没？听这。好，髋关节了吼，来髋关节用那个研磨测试。
Joining the free clinic, I was able to apply the pharmaceutical terms I learned in textbooks in real-life situations. I'm able to understand it deeply.
The students have applied what they learned, and they also want to design a life-saving app for seniors.
We'll design something so that solitary seniors or seniors in the mountains can contact doctors right away so they know their conditions.
As these young people join the free clinic, they've brought hope to the solitary seniors in remote regions.
Team members in Tainan have also been providing regular house calls to the seniors living in remote areas that lack medical resources, safeguarding their health.
It took nearly 2 hours to drive from Tainan City to Gwanshan Borough in Nanhua. Yet, Tzu Chi volunteers never stopped or complained about being tired.
What they need most is care. They just have minor problems, but it's not convenient to seek medical attention here, making them feel that they don't need special treatment. I think this is the most needed in this place.
For the elders with mobility issues, volunteers went to their home to provide house calls.
Most of them are elderly people who have mobility issues. Some are quite old. When we go to care for them and found they have some illnesses, we will provide medical treatment.
Participating in a free clinic in remote villages for many time, the nurse brought with her children and husband to help out.
I think this is very good because I can set a good example for my children, let them know that their parents are contributing to this society like this. In the future, they will follow our footsteps to do the same.
Through regular free clinic and house calls, the problem of lacking medical resources in rural areas can be solved so that the elderly can have better care and medical service. In the United States, Tzu Chi worked together with Touro University to provide COVID vaccinations to the locals. Some of them even brought back folded bamboo can bands to reciprocate Tzu Chi's love.
There's a long line outside the Tzu Chi office. Everyone is patiently waiting for this jab.
The reason why is we have a gift that keeps on giving. Dr. Rebecca Edwards. So, for her birthday, which was yesterday, she got us 500 doses.
After 1 month, Tzu Chi has yet again collaborated with Touro University to provide vaccination shots for the local residents. This time, many residents brought their bamboo coin banks back to the venue.
I appreciate Tzu Chi Foundation, Touro, and everybody else who's just done amazing work. These events don't happen without a whole lot of preparation on the front end and obviously a lot of work yesterday. Definitely our Touro students, they're not out here because they're getting paid. They're not out here because they're getting credit. They're out here on Sunday morning because they care about our community.
I've rarely seen an NGO that is so good. If it's other organizations, we might have to wait up to 3 or 4 hours. I'm very grateful towards Tzu Chi. They have been safeguarding the health of Asian Americans during the pandemic.
Regardless of age and race, the volunteers overcame every obstacle just to ensure that these people, who are often easily forgotten by society, can receive the COVID vaccine.
Chile is one of the COVID danger zones. Local Tzu Chi volunteers continue to shower the needy by sending a relief aid to an elderly home and a homeless shelter, looking after the people staying in cities' forgotten corners.
Unloading adult diapers, Tzu Chi volunteers, remembering to wear a mask, are out sending relief aid to those who need it at this time.
Traemos 180 kilos de arroz y 960 unidades de pañales. Dar las gracias porque todo sirve lo que llega para los favoritos.
La mayoría, como les contaba, la mayoría es...
Here, the elderly are without resources or help. Some are homeless, some are being left by their family, some are without family.
Por asistente social, por su pensión bajísima, como de 130 lucas.
Somos de Taiwán.
The volunteers visit with the elderly for a little, chatting about their days. Next, they visit a homeless shelter, where they brought 1,120 adult diapers, as well as prepared an amazing feast. With a full stomach, the days ahead don't seem to be so difficult.
In Singapore, Tzu Chi Singapore Humanities Youth Center has been actively promoting mental health this year. It not only signed an MOU with Silver Ripple Singapore to provide professional counseling services, but also worked with artists to hold a multimedia art exhibition, hoping to raise people's awareness on mental health through images, voices, and pictures.
The Silver Ribbon Singapore organization and City Singapore chapter have signed an MOU to provide free counseling to people.
The youth center is in the middle of the public housing, which is close to the people. It is free, so they do not need to worry about money. I hope that when people are overloaded mentally, if we help and treat them in time, they can learn to heal.
Besides counseling, the Humanities Youth Center has held a multimedia art exhibition for 4 months. Through images, sound, and pictures, the visitors can reflect upon themselves through other people's stories. They can also be aware of their own mental health.
We are not trained in emotions, and oftentimes we don't have a language to put a place into what we're really dealing with and feeling. And as a result of that, we tend to brush it, or we tend to find coping mechanisms to suppress it. Now, what we are trying to do is to get people to be self-aware of that. Let's turn to a partner, pick a partner, on the table. Let's do it pair. Let's do a pair sharing first.
The 2 young artists have created the works displayed at the exhibition. During the exhibition, they also inspire the public to listen to their inner voice and be aware of their emotions.
I have realized that we need to have courage to be ourselves. I think we need to be compassionate towards ourselves. This way, we will gradually feel happy and joyful.
As members of the public listen to their inner voice and maintain a healthy mindset, they'll be able to face their busy lives.
Also in Singapore, local Tzu Chi volunteers held the first introductory class on conducting home visits in 2019. This year, they held the class once again, teaching participants about the aim of charity mission and basic skills in conducting home visits.
We do not tell outsiders about the conditions of the care recipients.
How much do you know about basic etiquette in conducting home visits?
We cannot say things that could hurt their feelings or instigate his emotions. This is the more impressive thing I learned.
Being a giver, we spread love. This is giving without asking for anything in return. We will continue the work no matter how difficult it is.
Singapore City volunteers have held a class teaching skills in conducting home visits. It allows 124 participants to learn about City's charity mission and basic etiquette in home visits.
I think volunteers are great. I think we are leading good lives. As we have the capabilities, we should help other people and contribute to society, spreading love to people around us. It is very good.
Home visits are an important part of charity mission. Charity mission will nurture our compassion. As we see people who suffer, we will learn to count our blessings. I hope these class participants will feel touched in the class, participate in the charity mission.
Lin Chen-pin, who has been making donations to help people, is now willing to give of herself with the volunteers' encouragement.
So helping people do not mean making donations only. We can also take actions. In fact, I have a fortunate life. I will be able to face life more optimistically this way.
We are not helping poor people only. We help them when they have difficulties. Then one day, they can get back on their feet.
After the class, many participants are also willing to join the charity mission. May more people help the needy and reach out to forgotten corners of society.
COVID cases continue to rise in Indonesia, leading the Epidemic Command Center of Taiwan to suspend the imports of workers since the end of last year. These workers are the driving force behind much of the foreign care industry in Taiwan, and the shortage has left many families in need. Furthermore, demands from an aging society makes this issue even more pressing. Follow our report as we learn more.
At dusk, strolling in front of this house is foreign caregiver Gina, who accompanies an 80-year-old grandmother surnamed Yang. Many in Taiwan are burdened by working children, making it difficult to provide care for elderly 24 hours a day. There are many like the Yang family who at this stage depend on foreign care worker for elders' long-term care. Gina is the second foreign caregiver introduced to the Yang family by a labor agent. She is usually quiet but is the trusted assistant for Grandma Yang around the clock.
She puts a bed in the room and leaves a little space to work in the middle. We sleep together in the same room. If I need to get up in the middle of the night, she follows me. If I get up 5 times, then she will get up 5 times too. I asked her, "Don't you sleep?" She just keeps on smiling.
They both respect and trust each other. For more than a year, Grandma Yang has loved Gina like a granddaughter.
My daughter bought new clothes for me and bought new clothes for her, and my grandson also bought some for her. There is no difference. She's just like our own. She's so obedient.
Gina is 32 years old this year. Her home is on an island in the Philippines. It is the first time for her to go abroad to work. In her spare time, she talks with her husband and 2 daughters through video chat to get over homesickness.
Because the salary in the Philippines is very low, the salary in Taiwan is relatively high, so I thought of coming to Taiwan to work.
In order to work abroad and earn money to support the family, Gina enrolled in a nurse training school in the Philippines 2 years ago, which includes language learning, basic nursing, simple housework services. It's a one-stop training program. After nearly a month, she came to Taiwan through an agency. According to statistics from the Ministry of Labor, the number of foreign care workers in Taiwan has been increasing year by year. In 2018, it exceeded 250,000 has become a group that Taiwan relies upon.
One reason is that the declining birth rate is creating a structural problem. If this is the case, the phenomenon that will continue to increase in the future.
Taiwan also makes it difficult to qualify for a foreign worker, which is determined by age and a test for disability. Indonesian women account for 3/4 of caregivers and are prized by Taiwanese employers.
Their learning ability is relatively high, and their attitude towards learning language is relatively high. In the Philippines, they learn and speak English. They think that English is a global language, and they are not willing to learn Chinese. But foreign migrant workers in Indonesia are more willing to learn, and their obedience and attitude is better.
Many Indonesian foreign workers are valued by many families, but because of the recent surge in confirmed cases of COVID, the Pandemic Command Center temporarily suspended their arrival in Taiwan.
From December 4th to 17th, the introduction of Indonesian foreign workers will be suspended for 2 weeks.
As soon as the news came out, people who were unable to take care of themselves, dependent on foreign workers, could not find foreign workers as they may experience problems in their daily lives.
I think it's a key point now, where it's changing to Vietnam, the Philippines or Thailand to bring in foreign workers of other nationalities.
In recent years, the political and economic situation in Southeast Asia has been reversed and domestic demand has strengthened. Under this premise, Taiwan's desire to continue to attract foreign workers from across the ocean seems to be an increasing challenge.
In the United States, 10 Tzu Chi families were mobilized to clean up the park near American River, which has not been cleaned for 50 months because of the pandemic. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and see you next time.